Good afternoon, I'm Big John. So today's mission, I got the trusty old blue minivan out here. We are on our way to go pick up a John Deere snowblower. So this came up on Facebook Marketplace. It looks a little bit rusty, but other than that, doesn't look like there's a ton of hours on it. The paint's still good on the auger. Overall, the machine doesn't look like it got beat up. The ad said that the snowblower has a starter that works, it was running, has a broken fuel line. The primer bulb also doesn't work. All those are relatively easy fixes. I've worked on several of these before in the past. I actually have one in the back shop right now. We are ready to load this thing up. Talked to this guy, super nice, told me all about it. So it was his parents' snowblower and hasn't been running for a little while. Believes there shouldn't be anything wrong with it. I think it looks pretty great condition right here. We got oil. Next up, we'll see if this thing turns over. Yeah, it turns over no problem. If you heard that little pop there, it sounds like it has compression. Up here on the controls, we have our on and off key. We also have our throttle on the left side. And so normally there is a switch in the throttle where if it's at the bottom, it won't start. So you need that up there. You need to have the auger disengaged or else you won't. This one's been modified with the good old zip tie features. So this, if it was engaged, will actually let it fire up. I've not seen one of these with the pull tab choke. Most of them have that like red knob that sits right here. That seems like it works pretty well. So the issue he thinks is wrong with this is the primer bulb doesn't suck. I don't hear any suckage, so I don't think it's working. We check the fuel out. We do have a little, it's pretty much dry. It's bone dry. So we got no fuel. Ain't got no gas in it. And this thing, even if we do get it started on ether, it's just gonna die instantly. Let's go grab the magic fairy dust can and we'll see what happens. Don't got the good John Deere stuff, but it'll work. We'll try this a second time. All right, we're not getting anything to go, so we're just gonna push this thing up on the ramps. And we're in. Woo! As we get started here, let's play a little game. Put down in the comments below, how many snowblowers do you think Big John owns? I'll give you a little hint. This is the first one. This is the second one. How many more can I possibly have? We have the snowblower over here in the back garage. Today, I think I'm going to work on troubleshooting. I wasn't able to get it to start on starter fluid, which normally tells me we might not have any ignition. Other than that, it turned over easy, has oil. What I'll do is I'll take this guarding off, take a better look at the carburetor, see if we can get a better shot at the starting fluid up into it. We'll check to see if we have spark whenever we turn it over. Let's get after it. All right, so it does start on starting fluid. So I'm having to put some new gas in it What's probably happening is the float is stuck in this. And that's probably what's causing it to all drain out. So I think before I get carried away, I might pop this carburetor part. Ooh, yummy. Smells like caramel. You know it's gonna be a bad day. That does not look like gasoline to me at all. It's almost tomato soup. Yeah, I'd say the float is pretty well stuck here. So historically, it's much easier to just buy a whole brand new carburetor than to try and rebuild this. The one thing I am a little concerned with is the way the choke works. I don't think I can get another one of these too easily. I could pull the main shaft out, maybe of a brand new carb, and try and play with it, or just update to the newer style. The easiest option at this point would probably be tear it apart, soak the carburetor out, and see if we can clean it up. It looks like probably a little 1/4 inch. Okay, so we got a whole spring mechanism on here that is onto the throttle, and it's a grounding wire. What is the best way to take this thing apart? Probably pop the throttle control cable off first. Be a good place to start. Okay, now we have that. So I can get a screwdriver on this back side. And here we go. So this snowblower really doesn't have many hours on it. What I would normally look for is on your exhaust manifold here. If it's not all completely rusted out, that's a pretty good sign that it hasn't actually ran for that long. I need to take the fuel line off. Might be a flathead kind of mission. There it goes. All right. And just one little throttle cable later. It does not really want to come out of there. So it'd be almost easier to just take this arm off. And that's what I think I'm gonna do. Will I regret that? Maybe. But right now, it's the easiest option. So what I got is we have our carburetor here. It is well gummed up. So the needle just became unstuck, so that's good. What we'll do, we'll tear this all apart on the bench, spray it down, try and clean it up. And hopefully we can get it back into operational condition. We have our carburetor here. It is pretty dirty. We'll be taking the float off the bottom and then try and clean out all the jets and ports. First step is we pull out kind of this retention pin, keeps the float in place. So there is a small spring that catches on the float right under that clip. So in here is your float needle. So we have all the different parts of the carburetor here. I'm gonna take this gasket off, try and save it a little bit before dumping this thing into some cleaner. And hopefully that gets most of the gook and grime and rust all cleaned out. We'll also use carb cleaner afterwards, just make sure it's really flushed. I'll see if I do have a new one of these because I just cut it. All right, let's see how this goes. We got a rebuilt carburetor. Went through the cleaner, did the carb cleaner, and doused it in some gas. So it's all nice and washed out. I'm gonna reinstall it, hook it back up, put some fuel in the tank, and see if we can get this thing to go now. It's all nice, not stuck anymore. The float works the way it should. Hopefully this rebuild worked. And this one goes into this hole here, like so. And this goes into the fuel line. We have our screws. We'll need set up here. I'll put those in. I'll get the gasket slid over. Gasket has seen better days. First nut. Second nut. Alright, hopefully that gives it enough not completely stressed out rubber. Alright. Cool. Let's go get some gas. That should be good for our work today. Valve is open. Let's see if we, oh, yep. We now definitely get gas. Cool. Let's see if he'll fire up. And choke all the way on. Oh, we got fire. Interesting. Well, we'll hook it all up. We'll see if it runs then. Let's try this with actual throttle control this time. So choke is on, throttle is up. I think we might have too much fuel. I don't know if that means it's a valve issue or we just need a new carb. Either way, I gotta order some parts. All right, it's a couple days later. I got a brand new carburetor to swap out on this John Deere. We'll see if that helps. Right now, the old carburetor, even after cleaning it all out, continues to dump fuel. I could keep playing with it, or for roughly $11, I could get a new carburetor. That's the route I went with. So I'm gonna swap it out real fast and change it over. Hopefully this fixes it. If this doesn't fix it, it looks like we're getting a lot of airflow back through the intake. That normally is a sign of something wrong with the valves. So at that point, that's a lot more work tearing into this motor, trying to get that fixed. And really, I probably won't go through all that extra effort. We'll see, maybe I feel ambitious. So. Just get this thing out the way. Come on. And we are free. So here we'll compare the new carb and the old carb. They are pretty much identical. They were nice enough to tap these ones already. I broke one off here, so that's good that we got a replacement. One of the things I will have to change is the choke plate right there. I'll have to back out and then swap out that shaft. Hopefully those are the same screw size. So now we'll be able to pull this shaft up and out, just like so. I'm able to back this screw out. And back that out. So look here. Here's each of those plates. We should be good to go. I'll put the old one right down inside like so. Oh no, okay, there we go. It's a bit nervous. Tad bit tighter fit, which I think is just the brass. And we're in. And now we can put it back together. So this is an older generation 1032. And the reason I can say that is they updated the choke to be a knob later on, is one of the primary giveaways. Also, the way that they put the throttle cable on is different, using that really complicated top plate. Later ones, they kind of mount it up closer to the engine there. I'm hoping this is it, but you know, after seeing that back pressure, I really am guessing it's a valve kind of issue. Suction line is on. There it is. There we go. Cool. Throttle cable. All right, there should be enough on there so we can fire this thing up now. No bueno at all. Welcome back. It's been a few weeks since I've done anything with the snowblower. Last time we left it, I tried putting a new carburetor on, tried using starter fluid, checked spark to make sure that this engine was getting spark. More than likely something wrong with the valves. So I'm going to take this motor off, I'll drain the oil, pop it up off of here, tear it down on the bench, see if we can find anything wrong. These things don't have any oil filter with them, so the oil always comes out black. There we go. That's spade connector, and now I want to let go. fuel tank over here. Okay, that was easy to get off. The drive pulley might be a little more challenging. Close enough. Whoops. Can I get it off the pulley? That's the question. I think we just did. Cool. Alright. The engine is disconnected from all the pulleys. Like that. So all I need to do is up under there. You can see that one bolt head. There's another one pretty much right behind that chain there. So I need to hold those while I take these nuts off. Should be pretty easy. All right. So my next step is I'm going to pull the head off of this unit, and then we're going to check the valves and see how they're looking. That's going to tell us if there's definitively something wrong with this motor that might be relatively easy to fix, or if I should just go right ahead and start going after a new motor. So we'll see how that works out. Head gasket looks pretty well intact. That's a good sign. Valves are actuating. That's a good sign. I guess our next step I could take, which I really don't want to, I could take the exhaust carburetor off, access the side, pull the valves up, see how those look. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a little pry bar in there, try and pop out the retaining pin, and that way I can actually pull the valves and check clearances relatively easily, and also check to see how well it's seated. After looking at that, I'll clean up the top of the head, try and get any of the carbon buildup off, and then I'm going to go pick up some lapping compound, see if lapping these and then resetting the clearance on these two valves will get us good enough to the point where this engine will run and be happy. So we'll try that out, see what happens. All right, let's see if we can get this valve out. I need to find the right spot. That's it. There it goes. Cool. And the intake side is out. Cool. Springs are out. And my next step is I'm gonna check valve clearances. So we'll see how that goes. I think I'm shooting for somewhere in the like 6 to 8 range. 8 will go in. So we're above 8. There it goes. So I think we can lap the intake side without an issue. We're gonna check the exhaust side. So right there, 8 thou went in. See if our 12 thou goes in. 12 thou doesn't. So it looks like the valves have been set and are pretty decent. So now I'll go pick up some lapping compound and clean these up. They got a bunch of carbon buildup on them anyways. And we'll see if that fixes their problem. Just got back from the store, picked up some valve grinding compound. So hopefully with this stuff, I'll be able to get these valves in here, get them spun around nice and good to make sure they can seat properly now. Hopefully that is the cause of our problem, because right now both the valves look like they're going up and down. They look like they have proper clearance. The cylinder looks all right. We had spark. So really all the gummed up carbon buildup on the valve seat is my only kind of guess for why we're not able to get enough compression to make this thing go. Oh. So we pretty much just put a thin layer of the compound all the way around the edge. So there is apparently a suction cup type tool that you're supposed to be able to use with this. I don't have that tool, so we're gonna just do this the old manual method, and or I feel like before I do this, I should stick like a rag in there or something so they can catch. Let's not forget this is in there. I can say, you can hear it grinding. Should find like a wheel or something to do this with. I struggled to find anything that would make sense to hold on to the valve up here and keep the suction spinning enough for the drill to work. So I did come up with an alternative solution now. So I got my drill here. I got these 2 rubber bands, ran through into the side of the valve. Uh-oh. Looks like we're nice and smooth. Same thing down here inside the seat. We'll do the other valve, put it back together, try it out. The whole rubber band worked out way better than I thought it would. So now I'm going in, putting the valve seats, or the valve springs back in. I still need to get that bottom clip onto that valve. Shouldn't have said anything. Come on. Okay, now I need, there we go, flip. Ta-da! Wow, That was actually a lot easier than I thought it would be. Let's make sure it cycles. Look at that. First one in. Come on, clip in. There. Oh. Thought we were gonna have it. Clip in. Try this again. There it is. Ta-da! That wasn't so bad. All right. First up, I'm gonna put the little blow-by vent. Get that one hooked up and on. While you guys were waiting, I also put on a new suction line here. The fuel line looks pretty good, so I'm not going to replace it. It looks like that job had already been done. All right, the internet says 180 inch-pounds is what we need hit. We got the handy dandy torque wrench. So let's go through and click these off. Come on. Cool. So these bolts don't really get torqued to anything crazy. You bend the tabs over to make sure these don't come apart. Spark plug looks pretty sparky. Put that back in. Our next cover plate here. Now we'll roll this together. How much these actually take. Well, based on that, we're pretty good. Let's turn it over a few times. Yep, we're solid, right in the middle. Okay, so that needs to go all the way out. Yeah, we're gonna put this back together, make everything nice and right, and try it out. And by nice and right, I mean I'm gonna have one bolt holding this to the frame. That should be good enough. I'm gonna use the electric starter. All right, we don't have any fuel yet, but we're gonna try starting, crank it over. All right, looking good. Let's give it some fuel. Choke on. Start. So this is a new carburetor I put on there. It hasn't been tuned at all for the governor or anything else like that. Also, it bouncing around I don't think is good for how it meters in fuel and things like that. So we really need to get it bolted down all the way. We'll hook the belts up, and I think this thing should be good to go. Give me a little bit of time, and hopefully we'll be out there with a nice refreshed John Deere snowblower. Seems pretty good. All right, let's see if we can get this fired up and move forward, backwards, and work through all the bugs as far as tuning and adjusting the needle on the carb. That about wraps up today's video. I hope you enjoyed watching me rescue this 1032 John Deere snowblower. I'll probably hang on to it until early this winter before I'll turn it over and flip it. I'm gonna do a few other things to tune it up, check the gearbox oil up here in the front, make sure that belt gets replaced, do tune up on the inside, make sure everything's greased and oiled, and hopefully it's gonna be a great snowblower for someone this year. Welcome back. It's been a little while since we last worked on the 1032. As you can tell, it's a little bit colder out than it was last time. We actually got some snow. Here in Iowa, apparently that's a rare occurrence. We're in the middle of February, and this is probably the most accumulation we've seen so far this winter. Normally by this point, I'd have had to go and snow blow the driveway, I don't know, half a dozen times. So far, really I've only had to do it once. We have a couple snowblowers sitting out here underneath tarps. The one we'll be looking at today is the 1032. It's this guy right here. We have another tracked unit here to the right, and another 1032 with chains on the tires actually. Say make your predictions now on whether or not this thing is going to start up. All right, we got throttle, fuel's up. I'm happy with how this one turned out. It's blowing snow really well. Cleared out my driveway pretty much in, 8 minutes or less. I have a couple other snow blowers, so I'll probably be taking a video, posting this one for sale on Marketplace. Thanks for watching, and hope you guys enjoyed. I'm Big John. Till next winter. Bye.